Both Democrats and Republicans agree that the sequester, the across-the-board indiscriminate cuts to defense and non-defense discretionary spending scheduled to take effect March 1st, is bad policy. And yet, it now appears that both sides are willing to let it take effect. Why? Well, for Republicans, it's because they really view this as perhaps their best shot at achieving significant spending cuts. Even though it might not be the cuts they would have chosen, they see it as better than nothing. Essentially, they'll take it. They also think that President Obama's warnings about all of the dire impacts of these cuts are overblown, and that average Americans will come to see that really there is a lot that can be trimmed from the government, and that this really hasn't impacted their lives all that much. For Democrats, it's exactly the opposite. They think that the effect of the sequester will be so great that average Americans will feel so much pain and inconvenience as a result of these cuts that the public outcry will force Republicans to come back to the bargaining table and compromise on a package that includes higher taxes as well as spending cuts. Now, both sides also have a little bit of an escape hatch, which is that on March 27th, the continuing resolution funding the government is set to expire. And so when they have to come together to decide how they're going to fund the government going forward, they can also use that to make some adjustments and fix some of the most egregious effects of the sequester. But what that means is that for the month of March, essentially, both sides are prepared to let the sequester start to play out as a test case of sorts to see how these cuts really will affect average Americans. And they are betting on very different outcomes. We'll see who's right. For DC Decoder, I'm Liz Marlantes.